All right, all right. Wow, what a great morning already. How many of you guys have gotten tremendous value already today? Right? Let's give a big round of applause to this team for this great event we've already gotten put on for us. Let's do that. Come on now. Let's get excited. Pump it up a little bit. What an amazing event, guys. I am amazed every single time I come to WealthCon and all the value that gets pumped out of this room. Like, guys, if you're not walking away with tremendous ideas on how you can learn, improve, and grow, like, you need to do a checkup from your neck up at this point, right? Like, we definitely are getting a ton of value. And Ryan and his team just do a phenomenal job for us, putting us in the right positions at the right time, getting the right speakers, the right value. Guys, I'm honored to be up here. Just spent Saturday with Ryan and his leadership team doing his quarterly planning session. We've had the honor of doing that now for 4 years. 4 years ago yesterday, Ryan and I came together for the first time, and it was 2020. COVID was about to kick us right in the rear end, and we weren't ready. We didn't know, but we walked in, we put a strategic plan in place, and we started this journey and this path to where we are today. And what a amazing thing. What a transformation from where Ryan was in 2020 to where he is today. And now giving back and helping so many of you guys be able to impact your lives and impact other people's lives through you. And I'm honored to be part of this. Wealthy business is something that Ryan had a vision for, and he's like, Gary, you know, I want to be able to help more people with what you've helped me with. And so that's where Wealthy Business was born. And so talk to you guys a little bit about that, a little bit about me today. Gary Harper, entrepreneur, investor, business coach. Purpose is to do a good work, support God's work. Husband and father, 13 years of corporate executive experience, 23 years of real estate investing, Six Sigma expert, a little bit about certified in predictive index. We also have coached over 1,000 entrepreneurs as a business coach, helping them scale. We've implemented business operating systems in over 500 businesses now. You know what? I'm going to have to pause. Ryan, I think there's a different presentation that we sent in, if we can get that. And then, if not, I'll keep going on this one. Let's keep going until I figure it out. All right. Owner of 13 businesses, Sharper Events, Sharper Consulting, Sharper Process. Many of these companies I've been able to help start and run. I got some in here like Leighton Shires, and then the RISE Business Framework. The RISE Business Framework is the operating system in which we operate to help Ryan, and that Wealthy Business is based on, okay? And so Monster House Deals and some others, guys. These are some of the books that I have. If you guys haven't had the chance to read any of my books that I've authored, I have The Master of Time, Is Your Business Sick? The Purpose to Rise, which is a fable. It's a fable about an entrepreneur in real estate that's rising to his 100%, and he uses the RISE Business Framework. I actually love this book. Me and my wife had a chance to write it together because it's about a guy that comes to a WealthCon, and he hears a business coach speak, and that business coach then helps him implement the RISE Business Framework in his business, and then thriving through hard times. How many of you guys have gone through hard times? Absolutely. Right? So how do we thrive through that? Because we're meant to. We're meant to thrive through hard times. It's not what we're meant to do is to stop in our process, right? When we go through hard times, it gives us that ability to grow properly. Get this refined. And then the RISE Business Framework, guys. I love this book. I had the opportunity to write this book over the last year. It is what Wealthy Business is based on. This book went bestseller in less than 12 hours from launching it. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We've been asked to do a book signing in Times Square on the 20th or the 19th of January. Our book will be on the NASDAQ. So if you guys would like a copy of it, there is actually a QR code right here for you to get a copy of this book if you would like to do that. It takes you to our page, pulls that. It's about 344 pages, about 66,000 words. It is a textbook to how to implement the RISE Business Framework, the teacher's guide, if you will. Now, let's get into it. Wealthy Business, Sharper Business Solutions, the RISE Business Framework. We've come together to be able to provide you guys a solution. And I want to talk to you about that solution a little bit today and what it encompasses. What does RISE represent? RISE stands for these 4 words: resource, inspiration, systems, and engagement. That's what they stand for. Resource, inspiration, systems, and engagement. Now, how do we fail to rise? What are the things I've seen now coaching over 20 years, guys, that I've seen people like you that struggle and they don't reach their 100%. And we talk about rise, we're talking about rising to your 100%. What is your 100%? What's your company purpose? What's your purpose? What do you plan to do with your business or your life? And what are you doing to get there? Rise helps us get there. 4 reasons we fail to do that. Number 1 is fear. You guys heard the first speaker today. Talked about mindset, right? Sometimes we allow fear to stop us in our tracks. Sometimes fear is the one thing that will stop you from reaching your full potential. How do we get rid of fear? Replace it with knowledge. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to replace fear with knowledge, guys, and then sustain it with faith. Right? My biggest fear in the world is flying. I fly 5 times a week. Guys, I realized at a very young age, as an executive of a Fortune 500 company at 22 years old, that I was scared to death to fly. And I had a point that I had to make a decision. Do I come backwards in my career and stop flying and stop pushing myself outside my comfort zone, or do I continue to push and get past this fear? And so I studied everything I could about flying. I studied about why the dings happen on the plane, and at 10,000 feet it double dings because it's time for them to, you can turn on your cell phone and use your computer, and what time the stewardess get up. I learned everything about it. Why? Because I had to replace fear. I replaced it with knowledge. 2, I had to change my mindset. Guys, entrepreneurs get stuck because they think everything depends on them. That's what happens. And it's not a matter of will you ask for help, it's when you'll ask for help and how long you want to stay stuck. You know, hiring a coach helps these things. It helps you overcome fear, it gives you knowledge. It helps you adjust your mindset properly. Number 3, helps you maximize the connections in your life and business. That's what we have to do. We have to help maximize those connections. They're going to throw my other slides up here on you. All right? So we have to change our mindset. We have to maximize our connections in our lives. Guys, look around you. Look around right now. Look to the left and look to your right. Do you see somebody? Is that a potential connection to you? Do you know that the people in this room can help you explode your business just as much as the people on this stage? Maximize these connections. You don't even see the biggest value of what WealthCon does is it just gave you over 1,000 people to connect with. Right? My life changed the day I decided to maximize the connections in my life. Next, business operating systems. One of the main reasons we fail to rise, guys, is because we don't have a structured way in which to run the business. We don't have a business operating system that allows us to do that. A business operating system that gives us confidence to run our business. We have to have resource confidence. We have to have inspiration confidence. We have to have systems confidence, and we have to have engagement confidence. We have to have those things, guys. In order to let go, we have to be confident in what we're doing. What does our business operating system look like? Resource, time, money, people. You know, every business you start requires these 3 things: time, money, and people. Now listen, if you're the people in your business, guess what? You're a resource to your own company. Every business I start, I refuse to be a resource to that company. Because here's the thing, once you become a resource to your own business, it's quicksand. You know how hard it is to extract somebody back out of the business once they're a resource? They're the one making the phone call. They're the one closing the deal. They're the one that's solving the issue. They're the one sending the email. You're booking your own travel. How many booked your own travel to get here? That's a lot of people that are resources. Does that make sense? Yeah. We got to make sure we understand that. 2, inspiration includes values, purpose, and goals. You got to inspire those resources once you get them. You got to know who to get, where to put them, and then you got to inspire them. And then systems, process, procedures, policies to let go without losing control. And then, guys, if you do it right, then you've earned the right to go into engagement. You earn the right to expand. You earn the right to 10x. You earn the right to build a brand that's larger than you. You know how so many of us, and I've now coached almost 3,000 businesses in the last 8 years. Prior to that, I coached Fortune 500 companies for 13. You know what? I see people do this all the time. They start a company, they get good at sales, they get good at marketing, they got a product that's in demand, right? We all did it in the last couple of years in real estate. We had products in demand. You didn't have to be good at business at all to be good at real estate. And so what happens is people go straight to engagement. They think they're the Taj Mahal, so they build a brand. They're like, follow me, follow me, follow me. The business starts to expand, starts to grow, and they go, crap, I don't have the systems to support it. Crap, I don't have the right, I'm not leading this properly. Maybe I'm not the right leader. Maybe I don't have the right goals. And then they go all the way back to resources and go, I don't have the right people. It's stealing my time. How many of you guys in this room are like, I want my time back? I want my time back. I want my time back. And then you're starting to scale and you get into it and you're like, now I want my money back. I want my money back. I want my money back, right? It's because you grew wrong. You ever heard the statement before, they grew too fast? It's not a thing. It's you grew wrong. That's all it is. You grow as fast as you want to grow as long as you do it the right way. As long as you earn the right to engage, as long as you earn the right to expand, you can go as fast as you want. I started a business last week. First person I hired was Andy Robinson. Andy, are you in the room? Stand up, Andy. He's my new business unit leader, my new company, Homes on Purpose. I'm not planning on running that business, guys. I plan on him running that business. I gave him 6 months, put the money in the bank already, time, money, people. Those are my resources. If he needs me to help him, then he's the wrong guy. Does that make sense? Let's get into it. Why do we hit these plateaus? Why do we get stuck? When rising to 100%, where do we get stuck? Some of you guys are stuck in the resources. I saw a lot of hands go up. You're stuck. You're giving your time, your money, you're the person. Right? Some of you guys have people you already hired, but they're the wrong people. You got people killing your culture. You got people hurting your business. You're doing more work with more payroll. Some of you guys have the right people sitting in the right seat, but your phone rings more now than it ever did. Why? Because you've taught them what to do, but not how to do it, because you don't have the right processes, the right procedures, the right policies documented to let go. So you hire these people, and they come in, and they're like, all right, go do this, go do that, go do this. And then they call you and go, how do I do this? How do I do that? And you're like, man, I'm busier now than I've ever been. But I love John. He's a great guy. And my payroll's a lot higher than it would have, and I feel like I'm making less money because you don't have the right systems to manage those people. And then, guys, this engagement. Man, we got it all dialed in. Now we've hit that we've overcome those plateaus. We've had growth spurts, and now you get stuck in, man, I don't know if I have the right brand. Man, is my messaging proper? What do my advertising channels look like? Man, what worked before is not working now at scale. What worked in my backyard, I'm trying to go national, global, and it's not communicating properly. You ever heard of a company in a small niche area of the world, and they're like, best kept secret in that area. You got to go try their food. But then they try to expand outside of their area, and they're like, doesn't work as well, right? Because they got stuck in engagement. Guys, we're all stuck in one of these quadrants. Raise your hands for me if you see yourself in one of these 4 areas right now. Man, I think every hand should be up, right? Like if you run a business, in case you're just here as an employee, your hand probably shouldn't be up. But I think all of us get stuck in one of these areas. And you know what? You could be in engagement. You could have mastered it. And now all of a sudden, something shifts. And you got to go all the way back to resources and adjust. You know, Hershey did it in 1908. He came back out of retirement and had to reinvent his candy bar. He had to put almonds in it. He had to reinvent. He had to come back into his business because resource, inspirations, and systems was lacking after he expanded. So you can move up and down in these plateaus. Guys, we've given you an assessment right here in front of you. Open your books, look in your pages, find this assessment. This is interactive at this point, guys. I want you to ask yourself some questions. I'm going to give you a dialogue of what resources are, and then I'm going to ask you 4 basic questions so you can decide and score yourself as to whether or not you're lacking in resources, whether or not you're lacking in inspiration, whether or not you're lacking in systems, and last, whether or not you're lacking in engagement. Guys, don't worry. I'm not going to leave you just feeling like a failure. I'm going to walk away by the end of the day and tell you how we're going to fix this, okay? So you got your sheets in front of you. Let's talk about resources. What's a part of resources? We said time, money, people. What does that look like? Talent accountability, talent development, talent optimization, and finance. That's what resources encompasses in our curriculum. So in resources with talent accountability, you should have in front of your possession an organizational chart. You should have names and titles of every seat you have in your company. You're like, well, it's me and two others. Okay, but you have multiple seats. You know, the average real estate company average wholesale business has 48 seats. If you're the only one running it, you're sitting in all 48 seats. The company still needs you to document what those seats are so that you can put a plan together of when to get out and what seats you should be getting out of. And then we need a process ownership chart. I need a list of all the processes that you're performing and who owns those processes. I need process commitment. I need to know who's committed to performing those processes. And then last, I need succession planning. Why? Because I don't think you want to sit in all those seats for the rest of your life. I need to know when to get you out. We measure how to get you out, and we optimize who sits in those seats based on this. I love writing poems. I write about 3 poems a week. I journal with poems, right? The first time I met my wife, I wrote her, "This ring, this promise, a symbol of my love so true, but a dream in my mind that can only be fulfilled by you. I know to make it, it'll take a lot of sacrifice, but we'll make it through it all as long as we live for Christ." That was a poem. 27 years ago when I gave her a promise ring. Why? Because I like writing poems. That's how I journal. The heart, the head, the hands, the feet tell you if you're in the right seat. It's a rhythm. It's a rhyme. The heart, the head, the hands, the feet tell you if you're in the right seat. Do you have the desire to sit in that seat? Do you have the cognitive ability to do that job? Do you have the skills to do that job? And do you have the ability to grow the seat or grow with it? The feet. If you don't, then we need a succession plan, and we need to start recruiting for people to take your spot. We need to hire and onboard the right people. We need to develop them once they're there, and then we need to encourage and recognize them once they're a part of our culture. That's what we have to do. Then we need to know when to hire them. You know, the other operating systems out there like EOS and Scaling Up and Make Big Happen, a lot of them don't tell you when to hire them. They just say, go hire these people. You need these people now at this point. When I wrote Rise, I wrote it so that you have an idea of when. We want to help you create a performer. How many create a performer when you buy a house? Well, you should. Everybody's hands should go up on that one. You guys are making some bad decisions. But every one of your business should have a performer that's projecting the next 12 months. Guys, every one of you should have a vision plan right now that has a business performer that says, here's what my revenue is, here's what my gross is, here's what my net is, and here's all the expenses in between. That projects for the next 12 months. In Rise, we teach that. We help you. As a business coach, I create that with you. Then that performer creates a budget so that people stay within the spend. And then every month, your P&L statements tell you whether or not you did what you said you were going to do in your budget. If you overspent or underspent. That creates a variance report. Anything that's variance to 3% or more, I want to know why you spent the money because it wasn't in the budget. But then it also gives me the ability, guys, to see when I can afford to hire someone to take my spot in one of these seats. Because I'm projecting revenue to go up in May. Okay, if the revenue goes up in May, my profit goes up, so I can afford now to allocate some money towards hiring somebody else. So they don't hurt the business. Why? You say, well, it's only me in my business. But I need to know what each seat is valued at from pay perspective so I know when to take you out of the seat. You know, that's the quicksand. Somebody says, I run a 60% margin business. And I go, no, you don't. Are you paying yourself for every seat you set in? Because if you're not at least budgeting for it, guess what? You're not going to have the money set aside to replace yourself. And now it's a job. Let's ask these 4 questions. Ready? We hire, manage our team using an assessment tools such as predictive index, DISC, or COBE. I need you to rate this 1 to 3. 1 being I don't do it. 2, I think I'm good at it. 3, we do this in everything we do. We're great at it. 1, 2, or 3. Rate that 1 to 3. Write that down. Guys, don't skip this. You're going to have an opportunity tomorrow to sit down with a business coach for 15 keep our financial records organized and clean so we can generate accurate reports when they are needed. Okay? Rate that for me. Give me your total score. Write it down at the bottom, and then we'll move on to inspiration. How many of you guys scored a lot of ones? Be honest with me, guys. How many of you guys feel like your overall average was around a 2? How many of you guys in the room say, I'm the elite, I'm crushing it? Okay, that's good. So if you're elite and you're crushing it, then you might not be plateaued in resources. Let's go on to inspiration. If you feel like you have a lot of room to improve in what I just went over, then you're hitting plateaus in resources. Inspiration. This is where we have to become good leaders. We have to have long-term vision. We have to have short-term vision, and we have to create culture. We have to start inspiring our people, guys. Ryan's team has one of the best cultures I've been able to coach in the last 20 years. Phenomenal culture. What is that an indication of? Good leadership. That's what it is. Leadership is very important. Guys, listen, I'm going to make this statement. Do not expect to have A players on your team when you're a C+ leader. Don't expect it. A+ players don't want to work for you. They want to work for Ryan. Make sense? If you're not willing to lever yourself up, everything rises and falls on leadership. You better get good at it. In our curriculum, we talk about the importance of leadership, the 4 quadrants of great leadership. I base that around Jesus Christ. I said, you know what he did? He challenged the status quo. He did. He flipped the money changer tables. He inspired people. He still till today inspires people. He empowered people. He empowered the disciples even when he knew they were going to turn their back on him. And he modeled good behavior. He did what he said he was going to do. That's what makes great leadership. And great leaders become encouragers of others. As an example of this. We have a leadership and management assessment so you know where you might be weak. And then we talk about the art of delegation, how to let go. Guys, I found a lot of times you get great people around us, but we don't let go to them. We don't empower them. And sometimes we empower them to fail. Sometimes we don't empower them at all. And John Maxwell said, good people that don't feel empowered don't stay. They leave you, and they go work for somebody else that's a better leader. And then we audit. We audit our leadership on a consistent basis. Every Friday, guys, I'm auditing my leadership. Why? Because if you're going to be a great leader, you better be a student of leadership. I read an average of 3 books a week, trying to always improve myself as a leader. You have to. Long-term vision. We got to know our values. We got to know whether or not we're attracting the right people. Ryan has 4 core values. Identifying our personal purpose. You know the millennials said that personal purpose became very important in 2020. They said that if you don't help them achieve their personal purpose while helping you achieve your professional purpose, they don't want to work for you. The Great Resignation was ushered in because people said, my purpose matters too, not just this company's purpose. And if this company's not going to help me reach my personal purpose, I'll be a nomad. I'll travel the world with a bus that's built out like an RV. That's what they did. So guys, 67% of their people that quit their job in the last 3 years said the lack of emotional paycheck was a factor. You have to have it. Stop turning to operating systems that were built in 2004 that didn't bring into account the change in our world from 2020 on. 3, identify a company purpose. Guys, you got to have a purpose. You got to have a cause. You have to have a passion. You got to have a reason to rally people to want to follow you. They have to have a cause. And last, I've created what we call the key purpose indicator. How are you measuring your purpose? Sharper's purpose is to do a good work that supports God's work. That's our purpose. It's not about the quantity of work we do, it's the quality of work we do, and whether or not we can then give back to God's work. And how do we measure that? To give $2.6 million by 2026 to a faith-based cause. That's our purpose. And that's not to glorify me, that's to glorify him. Because it's not about me. It's about the cause. It's about why we're doing what we're doing. Culture. Guys, you know culture comes from 4 areas. You say, well, I love Ryan's culture. I want that. Well, form your own. You better put people in the right seat. Number 1. And that includes you, by the way. If you're in the wrong seat, you're going to hurt your own culture because you're not going to do it right, and people aren't going to trust you. Next, you better get the right people around you that align with your values and align with your vision. 3, you better have people that align with your goals, that want to go where you want to go. And last, they better align with your purpose. They better feel inspired by it. They better see how their personal purpose can be achieved by helping you reach your company purpose. Where you do not have alignment in those 4 areas, you will have a bad culture. Guys, this applies to your personal lives. In a relationship, husband or wife, significant others, you better align in the role you play in that relationship. At some point, one of you had to agree to wash dishes. Somebody had to agree to take out the trash. Somebody had to agree to wash, to pay the bills. Somebody had to agree to that. Somebody had to agree to clean the house. And when we both agreed that neither one of us wanted to clean the house, we hired somebody else to clean our house. But we agreed. We have to align our values. I know my wife's core values. I know mine. We make sure we protect and respect. Goal affirmation, guys. I had to check in with her after the kids left home and go, do you still want to achieve these things together? And then do you still want to do it for this reason, this purpose? That's alignment. We got to have short-term vision. We have 3-year goals. We have to have 1 year. We have to have 90 days. And then we have to have what I call the 4, which is a focus around the 4 most important things this business needs in the next 90 days. We got to have that. Here's the questions. We have a clearly defined core values that every team member knows and strives to keep. 1 to 3. Same rating system. 1, we don't have them. 2, I think we do. Might need to dial them in a little bit. 3, that's what we're known for. I have 4 core values. Belief. I have a really hard time working with people who don't believe in us, that don't believe in God. I just do. That's okay. That's who I am. Hey, listen, I don't fault you for not. You're not on my team at that point. You understand? If I can't get in the car and go from here in Vegas to Hollywood, California with you without dropping you off at an airport and telling you get a flight, then I don't want you on my company. I measure it that way all the time. If you can't get in a car with your employees and drive 16 hours somewhere with them, they probably shouldn't be in your business because they're probably not aligning with you. Next, we have a distinct company culture that keeps us and our team members engaged and inspired. 1 to 3. We have defined long-term goals, documented purpose for why we exist beyond just making money. Last, we have quarterly and annual goals that are reviewed and adjusted regularly by our leadership team, like Ryan did on Saturday. We got together, reviewed long-term, reviewed short-term, and said, what do we focus on for the next 90 days? Short-term vision, guys, is all about focus. Focus is an acronym. You guys know what focus stands for? Follow one course until successful. That's what 90 days does. Long-term vision gives inspiration. Short-term vision drives results. And if you're not focused, you're not going to get results. Resource, inspiration. Now we're into systems. Systems, effective meeting structures, business pipeline, stoplight reports, and process execution. That's what we have to have to let go. We have to have communication. My dad was in the military 21 years. I said, Dad, whenever you go into battle, what's your number one objective when he would go into battle? And he said, Gary, my number one objective is to take out the lines of communication. Is if I can take out the lines of communication, I can control the supply lines and the battle's over. Guys, your business is failing you today because you stink at communicating. You got to have a plan for communication. And then you got to manage your pipeline. You have to manage your KPIs. Numbers don't lie, people. People do. Sometimes people lie about the numbers. But numbers tell a story. Last, process execution. You got to get those processes out of your head and start leaning them out at this point so you don't take waste into engagement. You try to scale with waste in your process, it's going to destroy your profits. So that's what we're doing in systems. 4 types of meetings here, guys. We should have a culture meeting. We should have an inspirational meeting, a State of the Union address. We should have strategic planning sessions every 90 days to create the strategy and the vision for the company. We should have organizational weekly meetings to improve communication and drive results, review KPIs. And then, guys, we should have daily tactical meetings that asks the question about, did you perform the process you owned yesterday? What is your number? Did you hit your number? How many calls were you supposed to make? How many closings did you have? Those are the types of questions we ask on a daily to make sure the process stays working. Next, business pipeline. Guys, it's our job as leaders to know our pipeline. From the time that we market to the time we make money. What does that pipeline look like? The world of Six Sigma, we call that a SIPOC. Supply, input, process, output, customer. And guys, we want to know the cycle times in between each one of those. From the time we market to the time we get a lead. What's the average cycle time? From the time you get a lead to the time they sign up as a customer. What's the average cycle time? From the time they sign up as a customer to the time you fulfill. Right? And from the time you fulfill to the time you get paid and they get a satisfied customer at the end. That's SIPOC. When you add up those cycle times, that tells you your cash conversion cycle. And if you have a couple different products that you're fulfilling on and like 4 different ways of marketing, you can have up to 25 different cash conversion cycles. I had a real estate company the other day, had 5 different ways to market. TV, ads, direct mail, like SMS, texting. But they also did novations, wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold. It's like 25 different cash conversion cycles. Why do I need to know that? Because I have to plan. Guys, I had a client that was July. They said, we're going to do $1 million this year. Okay. How much have you done? $350,000. What's in your pipeline? About $400,000. Okay, it's July. Like, man, we're at like $750,000. You think they're going to hit $1 million by the end of the year? Every one of you guys in here would think yes, right? Until we found out their cash conversion cycle was 9 months. Their year's over. And you're about ready to create a vision for $1 million this year and spend money on that, you're bankrupt. See the importance of the cash conversion cycle? Helps you plan properly. Then, guys, we've got to know our numbers. 4 types of numbers. I've trademarked these 4 together. Key purpose indicator, measuring your company purpose. Key profit indicators. Key performance indicator, and your key process indicators. Those 4 KPIs are critical to the success of a company. These KPIs are actually correlated back to the meetings. Your culture meeting should be reviewing your purpose indicator. Your strategy session is driven by the profit indicator. Nobody in the history of America has ever changed strategy because they were making bank. Right? They may have adjusted, added to it, but they were like, we're going to burn the bridges. Our strategy sucks because we made a lot of money. Right? Next, performance indicator goes in that weekly organizational meeting. And your process indicator goes to your tactical daily meetings. So we have to have these. And guys, if we do it right, we build down from purpose, determine our profits, determine our performance, and then determine our daily activities that are going to get us what? Back to purpose. So if you build down properly and you measure up every day, you're protecting the company purpose every day by holding the process indicator accountable. See that? This isn't hard. Business doesn't have to be hard. It's just not simple. Right? Next, process mapping. Got to get these processes out of our head and on paper. Process is what we do. Once we have that, we lean it out, then we document the procedures, which is how we do it. Process is what we do. Procedures are how we do it. Policy is when you do it. And if you do that right, you'll drive the productivity of your company the right way. And we measure that. We measure the productivity. Because why? We're looking for the very next thing is we're going to expand at this point. Because we have resources dialed in, we have inspiration dialed in, we have our systems dialed in, and guess what? You've ETR'd it. You've earned the right to expand. Now you've done it right. And you could go through this as fast as you want to go. And the more you do it, the better you get at it, and the more of an expert you become at installing a business operating system, the faster you can go, and you can do as many businesses as you want at that point. Let's ask the questions, 1 to 3. We have documented processes, procedures, policies that are easily accessible to our team members. 1 to 3. Rate it for me. Number 2, we have key numbers that each team member knows, tracks on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. Creating accountability, 1 to 3. We have organized weekly meetings where problems are solved, tasks are assigned, and progress is measured. Last, We have a clear understanding of that business pipeline, that cash conversion cycle, that SIPOC, from the time we acquire a customer all the way to now where they've referred us to somebody else. We understand it completely, and we're managing toward it. How many of you guys say you're stuck in this quadrant? This is an area in which you feel like you have a lot of work you need to do. A lot of hands going up. Don't be alone here, guys. Listen, we're all struggling in one of these areas. Hey, listen, I've done this for 20-some years. You know, I'm not immune to it not working all the time. There are times that I have to, as an innovator, go back in and re-innovate my processes because my process indicator tells me it's not working anymore. Right? I had a guy call me the other day. He's like, man, my integrator's not working out for me. Like, they're not removing obstacles. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. And he's like, man, like, my product's really suffering. He's like, I wish they'd innovate my product. And I go, bro, that's not their job. Their job is to integrate the solution, not innovate it. It's your job. The person failing your business is you. I was like, how many beaches you been on the last 90 days? How many rounds of golf have you played? Like, what are you doing? Are you absent from your business? Because if you are the visionary of your organization, guys, it's your job to innovate these processes. It's what it is. If you don't want to be that person, if you don't want to be the resource to the company and innovate the process, then don't sit in the seat. The seat I like to sit in is called the director of the board. That's where I want to be. I want to be an owner. How many of you guys started a business so you could have a job? Not me, man. I don't want to own a job. I started a business to make money, to get my time back, become free. And at any point, guys, a business requires me to be a resource, I'll shut it down. I've started 67 businesses in the last 7 years. I have 14 right now. I've sold 10. You do the math. It's 24 minus 67. How many of you think you got shut down? A lot. Because at some point, it either didn't make us the money, we got the wrong person in the seat, or it was taking too much of my time. Make sense? Engagement. It's a fun one. This is where everybody gets excited, right? Why? Because we want to expand. This is where we create the right brand. You know, Ryan's companies used to be named something different. But when he wanted to expand, Wealthy was created. Right? He was already good at his product. Brand gives you more recognition, expands your product. Marketing, advertising, and sales. You have to have those dialed in. It's not that you haven't been doing them already. It's not that you weren't even actually good at it. It's the 10x of them. Right? Sales looks completely different when you're selling $1 million worth of revenue a year versus $1 billion worth of revenue. It just looks different. So you have to know how to expand it properly. You have to be able to audit your brand. You have to create the right brand feel, right brand assistance, and the right brand management. Part of what we do here, what Ryan does, is help dial that in for you. We have to analyze your product. We have to make sure that product is scalable and stays profitable. We have to understand our consumer psychology, what they think, what they want. We have to understand our marketing plan. We have to have one. How many of you guys have a good marketing plan? Some of you guys might just be winging this. That's not a good plan. You have to A/B test things. Man, I'll tell you, from standing behind the scenes, watching Ryan work, man's a genius at testing. It's like he has a laboratory and just constantly testing things. And if this doesn't work, that doesn't work, we adjust this. And he does it based on all these numbers. Just backstage with him earlier, and he's like talking about how, you know, he's testing this and doing this and looking at that. And I mean, stuff that's a year from now. That's not even a part of this room today, but he's testing stuff. Always testing. Advertising. We got to have the right channels. Can't just spend money to spend money. We have to have metrics that tell us it's working, right? We have to have the right budget for our money. You know, one thing I've learned working with bigger clients is the amount of money they spend here. Like, it's 30, 40, 50% that starts to go into this. Their budget goes from, in a small business, 10, 15% to up to 50%. Because they're trying to 10x, they're trying to scale. And then last, being consistent with the brand. Saying the same things. And then last, guys, sales. Sales, having the right resources for sales. Knowing when to hire the right ones. Inspiring your sales team. You know, one thing I've learned about sales over the last 21 years is they're mainly good people. Salespeople that are really good are visionary type people. You know, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a visionary. If you're a visionary in this room, and probably most of you are, you battle depression a little bit. You battle the ups and downs and the highs and the lows. Because one day you're on cloud nine, I'm going to crush it, I'm dominating, I'm destroying, I'm winning. The next day it's like, man, I'm hanging it all up. Like, I'm done. I mean, hey, don't lie. The last 7 days, how many have sent that text? I don't think I'm going to do this anymore. Right? We all do as visionaries. Well, your salespeople aren't different. They go through those ups and downs and highs and lows too. What are you doing to inspire them? What are you keeping them dialed in with? What are you doing to keep sure that you have a good systems for your sales? And then what are you doing to make sure you're engaging with your customers on a regular? These are all the things that we have to do to rise to our 100%. Let's ask the last questions here. We have a logo, a brand guide, a consistent digital presence that keeps us top of mind with our customers. 1 to 3. We have consistent company messaging that carries throughout all our marketing materials and our creatives. We're being consistent in our message. We have effective advertising channels that are measured weekly and adjusted when proven ineffective. And then last, we have a proven sales process, weekly training, and measurable success turning leads into paying customers. How many of you guys feel you score high in this? That's a lot of laughing. How many of you guys feel like you did this really well and you didn't do the others really well? There's some hands going up there too. Guys, listen, we're all in the same boat here together. All of us are struggling in one of these 4 areas. There's a reason why this is written. It's because there's a mass amount of people that need it, right? And here's the thing. I'm not immune to it either. I have to constantly check these areas for me. My businesses have to constantly check these areas. And we have to keep them dialed in. So, the RISE Business Assessment's in front of you guys. You guys all have this form. How many of you guys played along? You went ahead and scored you. Show me all your hands. Awesome. Keep them up. Keep them up. If you did it, put your hand up. If you didn't do it, all right. All right. Appreciate you guys taking the time to do that. Guys, at the end of this session, there's going to be people that are going to collect these. I want you to write your information on there. We're going to take time over the next 24 hours and schedule a session with you from Ryan's team and my team to give you 15 minutes to review this with you, to help you with it. Does that make sense? And so how many of you guys think that's valuable? Don't miss this, guys. This is a free thing. Like, how many of you guys, seriously, we charge good money to do this with people. So take advantage of this. Get these forms turned in. And if anybody would like to talk to me throughout the next 2 days, I'm here for you. I want to bring you guys value. I'm going to do this. I'm going to ask Ryan Pineda himself to come back up on stage, right? And I want you guys to hear his journey through RISE. I want you to hear how he rose to 100%, right? And how he had to navigate each one of these quadrants just like you need to as well. It's not like it just showed up on his lap one day. It's not like he just, flipped a wand and all of a sudden it was all there for him. He had to work hard, very hard. And I got to see it. I can be a testimony of the fact that that man poured into these areas, okay? So I'm going to ask Ryan. Ryan, if you could join me one last time here for this morning. Guys, round of applause for Ryan.